Hi, Bob Letham here. I'd like to show you some training drills I use to increase my accuracy and my speed. I have a action target plate rack here, and I want to show you how I use this in my own training. Now, a lot of people don't know how you shoot a plate rack or how to use it correctly. Well, the trick is you have 6 separate targets there. It's not one string where you come up and go bang, 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 and come across it. You focus on one target, you shoot one target. Go to a second target, you shoot it. And if you'll do that and make conscious effort to stop on each target, you'll hardly ever miss. The difficulty of the target is an 8-inch circle right now at about 8 yards. So that's not a real hard shot. If your fundamentals are strong and you put the sights on the targets, you can't miss the target. Where people mess up is try to shoot it in what I call the fire hose technique, where they literally come across the target and expect to shoot at the target as they go by it or as they're coming in. Now, some people can pull this off occasionally, but I've never seen anybody consistent with it. The reason being, you have to then time your shot perfectly into the target. Okay, now the cool thing about these falling plates is if I hit it, it's going to be gone. I won't stay around and watch it when it falls. I will shoot one at it and move on in my peripheral vision. I will notice whether or not the target has left or not. All right, let me shoot a string for you. Nice and controlled so you can see each hesitation. Okay, you'll notice I never went through it and just hosed through it. Each shot was an individual shot. Okay, so I've made a series of one-shot hits. Now, if you want to go quicker, you have to always realize it's based not on how quick you can pull the trigger, because you can get on and off the trigger before you can get from target to target here. You're going to base it specifically on how quickly you can get off one target with the sights and on to the next. Most people make the mistake where they stay on the shot a long time after they fire it. It looks like this. They'll fire the shot, and then they sit there and look at it and then move to the next target. So they fire the shot, they recover the gun on it, and come back down to the same target. Well, that's going to be slow because you're sitting there using follow-through in a position where the target's gone. What you want to do is practice getting off the target like this. You'll notice that once I fire the shot, the gun lifts in recoil, and I take the recoil to the next shot. Okay? I'm not trying to stop muzzle flip. I'm not trying to stop the recoil. I'm using it to move me to the next target. Then all it is a series of stops, where I go boom, stop, boom, stop, boom, stop. Okay, this time I'm going to try to cut some time off. That first run I made was a 3:59. This time I'm going to push the first shot just a little bit more to try to get some time off it, and I'm going to make sure I move off the target quickly and stop sharply on the next target. All I do is wait till I can see the sight stop on that target. And it isn't come down on the target, that looks good, reaffirm, now think about pulling the trigger, now look at the sights again. You got to get rid of all that. You put the sights on the target and you pull the trigger, and that's all there is to it. That time was a 2:82. Now the question is asked, which direction do you want to go, left to right or right to left? Truth of the matter is you don't want to be limited to going quick one way or the other. Now, I prefer to go left to right, but I think it's based on many, many years of just doing it that way. I can shoot exactly the same times, and the same techniques are used to go right to left. So I'm going to run you a string this time where I start on the right target. Okay? That clock time was 2.83, so it was actually a little bit quicker than my left to right. Other things you can do with the plate rack that's pretty cool is you can use it as a reference for when the target falls. So you have to watch it to see if you hit it. A reason people probably watch targets fall and then use too much follow-through is because they didn't know if they hit it in the first place. If you develop the proper trigger pull and get your visual skills down so you know the sights are on the target. Even if you don't hit the target, you'll see a miss or hear a miss. And that's one of the advantages of shooting at reactionary steel targets. Now I'm going to shoot another version of the drill I use as a target acquisition drill, and this is called outsides. I'll shoot the far left, the far right, and then you go back and forth until you've shot all the 6 targets down. And if you miss one, you can't stay on that one. You still have to go. So it's a shot to far left, a shot to far right. This is a lot slower because the target acquisitions are much more difficult. Because this one I can't just use a little recoil to bounce it over. This time I have to move, 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 move. And the first few are big target acquisitions. Okay? You'll notice the pace picks up as I go. And that's simply because at one point I'm doing a 7-foot target acquisition, and then when I get to the last one, I'm really only doing about a 2-foot target acquisition, which should be quicker. If you shoot that and it's the same pace all the way through, you're either too fast on the long ones or you're too slow on the short ones. That time was a 3.59. Okay, let's recap a little bit here. The advantage of a plate rack is it gives you small targets, which increases your accuracy, and it gives you multiple targets, which you can use for target acquisition. But you can do almost any drill with any target. Now, obviously, you need multiple targets to do acquisitions, but say you want to throw some strong hand and weak hand in there, or you want to do some reloads. All those can be done on a plate rack or any other target. Now, what I like to use the plate rack for is what its biggest advantage is, which is target acquisitions. Now, to throw some reloads in here, the next string I'm going to shoot is I'm going to shoot 2 plates down. I'm going to do a reload, shoot 2 more plates down, reload, shoot 2 more plates down. Okay, I had to bounce up on target 1 because I'm shooting such hot ammo. But you'll notice, fire the shot, get off it. Once again, a big problem most people have when they're doing the reloads, trying to be quick, is that they stay on the shot a long time and don't commit to the reload at the instant they fire the shot. I go ding ding. As soon as I fired that shot and I see the gun recoiling, which is either the sight moving or the slide moving up, I commit to going to the new magazine straight away, because that's how you get a quick reload. You can have the quickest moves in the world, and it won't make any difference if you spend all your time sitting there admiring your work from the previous shot. Now, while we shoot two-handed most of the time, in reality, you're not always going to have that option. So we have pushed our ability to shoot strong hand and weak hand also. So I'm going to change the drill just a little bit here, and what I'm going to do is one of my favorites. I'm going to shoot 2 shots with both hands, okay? Then I'm going to let go with my support hand and shoot 2 targets with my strong hand. Then I'm going to switch to my weak hand. Now, this probably doesn't have an application in a fight. But what it does do is create a lot of manipulation and a lot of difficulty in the manipulation. And to do this well, you need to be able to do a lot of things at once. And those are skills that would be necessary in a fight. All right? Here we go. Okay, I had 1 makeup shot. My weak hand wasn't that strong that time. The point is, each one of those segments requires a different pressure in my hands and requires a different sight picture and a different trigger pull. So the advantage is you know that all your skills are good. My two-handed's good, my strong hand's good, my weak hand's good. When I see that target fall down, I know I've done everything right. All right, I've shown you a few drills that you can use to practice and build your technique and your skill on that plate rack. Now, just for one final run here, I'm going to hang one out and see how quick I can put a time together for you. That was 2.50 seconds. Once again, plate rack is the ultimate target to teach you target acquisitions. Hi, Bob Letham here. I'd like to show you a drill that I use to teach muzzle flip control, recoil control, and trigger control. Now, anybody that's into action shooting games, or for that matter, anybody that's trying to learn to be able to shoot a pistol fast, needs to learn how to control the recoil. But what happens is as you develop your speed and go quicker and quicker, you tend to push, pull, jerk, flinch, whatever words you want to put on it. So the drill I use to teach that is I take a full-size silhouette target like I have here, and I set a timer. I'm going to put a par time in there of 3 seconds. Now you can move this time around to whatever you want it to be, but that's the time I use. And I'm going to shoot 10 strings of fire, or as far as I get. The first string I'm going to draw and shoot 1 shot, just 1 shot. And then in each string after that I'm going to go 1, then I'm going to shoot 2, then I'm going to shoot 3. I'm going to find the level of control that I have. Now, it's for different people, different places. Somebody less skilled might run 3 or 4 shots and start running out of time. What happens then is when you start running out of time, you start panicking, and you give up trigger control, and you give up aiming, and just start shooting as fast as you can. And it'll become painfully obvious on the target when that happens. All right, so I'm going to start off and shoot my first string, which is going to be 1 shot. Okay, second string is 2 shots. Third string, 3 shots. Change mags here. Notice on the shots at this point, they're right in the center, so I haven't gotten to a point where I'm even close to the time yet, so we just keep on going. So this is 4 shots. Okay, I'm still right there, right in the center. 5 shots. Okay, now you'll notice at that point that I just barely made the time. I only had .28 left. So now to get this next shot out, off onto the target, I'm going to have to start picking the time up a little bit. So I'm at the end of my comfort zone right there. That was 5 shots. So now I'm going to 6. Okay, those are right in there. Go to 7. Okay, right in there. So now we go to 8. Okay, starting to get tight here. At this point, I know I've got to pick the pace up just a little bit. And normally that's when your brain says I need to pick the pace up a little bit, you start making other mistakes. You'll stop pulling the trigger correctly and stop holding the gun well in order to gain speed. And that's where the problem happens. So 9 shots. Okay, I made the time. I opened the shots up just a little bit. I've got a low one and one that's slightly upper left that might still be an A. Okay, final string. Wrong mag. 10 shots. I had .32 left on the last one. All right, that was a good clean string there. I had .39 left, and all shots are right in the center. Now, I've done this a lot, obviously, and I practice constantly. The advantage of having this target is that I can immediately hear whether I've hit, and I can immediately see, because against the black target, the lead bullets make a nice gray spot. But you watch the target to see where you're hitting. The target never lies. It's telling you the truth about where you shot. You're shooting at a pace that you don't have time to correct the mistake. Let's say I see the sight low left. Well, I've already made the mistake. I can't necessarily correct it on the later phases. At 8, 9, 10, you have to pretty much be doing everything perfect. But that's the point, is to show where your weaknesses and strengths are. Now, something else to notice. We commonly blame jerking the trigger as being a problem. The truth of the matter is I'm shooting 10 shots with a draw in 3 seconds. To pull that off, you have to jerk the trigger every single shot you fire. Now, I know you traditionalists out there are going to hate hearing that. But the truth of the matter is there's no way to shoot that quickly with a bunch of slow trigger squeezes. So you have to develop the ability to jerk the trigger without moving anything else. And the second issue is the hits tell you whether you're shooting too fast or too slow. It's not a feel-oriented thing. I see the gun flip and recoil, it comes back down, and I pull the trigger again. If you shoot too fast, the shots are going to be high. If the shots are off to the side, that's grip stance and control related. So always work on a single element. In this case, I'm working on returning the gun. Now, to teach yourself trigger control and returning the gun from recoil requires you to have a baseline starting point. Now, the drill I use for that doesn't use a timer, so you're not trying to shoot a score. All you're trying to do is hit the same spot with shot after shot. So when I teach that, we take a target much like this mid-sized steel silhouette, and I pick a spot on that target and I shoot at it repeatedly. Doesn't have to be fast to start with. You start like this. Okay? And just gradually start picking up the pace. Now the point is to return the gun to exactly where it started from. Okay? So once again, I come up and I'll start picking up the pace. Okay? Obviously my shots are all in the same basic area right there, so I can pick up the pace just a little bit. Okay? Now I'm close to starting to lock up. I shot one shot high, and remember, what's your indication of whether you're shooting too fast is when you shoot high, because that's when you shoot before the gun returns. If you see shots going all over the place like this, where you just come out there and go, okay? You get trigger hang-ups like I had there where I failed to release the trigger. I've got high shots, I've got low shots. Those occur because I'm shooting with no regard to where the gun has returned and whether or not it stopped moving. So when you see those shots and you start spraying all over the place, change the whole drill up. Back yourself off again, pick a spot on your target. I'm going to shoot at the bottom hit on that target and just gradually pick up my speed to the pace where I can barely see the sights return and stop. Okay? And that drill will teach you better than anything else sight watching. Now, you've all been told to watch the sights. You should look at the sights and stare at the sights. The problem is, what does that actually mean? One of my big, call it a pet peeve, is when I hear people say, stare at the sight and squeeze the trigger, and you blame any problem you make on whether or not you were staring at the sights or jerking the trigger. Truth of the matter is, looking at the sights means more than just seeing them at the instant you fire. When I'm shooting a series of shots on a target, whether my focal distance is the sight or the target, I see the sight move in my peripheral vision. For instance, if I shoot a shot on that target and watch it lift, I want to be able to tell you how high did my sight move in recoil. And right there, my front sight lifted to about a foot over the top of the target. Most people will see the sight right as they shoot, and then they'll see it right as it comes back in to recovery. The truth of the matter is there was a lot of movement in the sight. If you watch this on slow-mo, you'll see, I'll shoot a free shot here where I won't try to fight the recoil, and you'll see how high the gun actually kicks. It jumps clear up to about this point, which is about 3 or 4 feet over that target. Most people never see that because they only look at the sight while they shoot. Watching the sight and seeing the sight means a lot more than while the gun's going off. It needs to be in the time between the shots. That's what allows you to start pushing on the gun and returning the gun quicker. So I watch the sight bounce the whole time. And that's the way you do that. Hi, Bob Letham here, and I'd like to show you a couple drills to shoot on the action target PT hostage target. Now the format of this target is it has a head plate that swings back and forth next to the head of the front target, which technically is your hostage target, but you can use it in other ways also. So you have that swing head plate that you can shoot and using the front target as a no-shoot target. So when you look at it, you've got to make sure you make a good shot, because if you miss, you may hit nothing, but you may hit the shoot target, and that's what you're trying to avoid. Now the first version of it is very, very simple. You're going to simply draw the gun and shoot the head plate back and forth behind it, which makes you do a target acquisition and makes you shoot a good shot too. because this shot is on a smaller plate, and not only miss, you won't hit the target, you may hit the wrong target, which is a great training aid, especially for law enforcement. Now, another way of doing this drill is to use the body plate as a target itself and then go to the head shot behind it. So what I'm going to do this time, I'm going to shoot 2 centered shots on the silhouette, then shoot the head plate, then shoot the silhouette, the head plate, back and forth. Okay, so you shoot it back and forth and use it in a method which actually gives you 2 target acquisitions to do. You come off 2 fast shots onto a hard shot. Fast shots onto a hard shot. So not only does it make you do a target acquisition and recognize whether or not you hit the shot, you also have to go from a relatively easy shot to a hard shot. Now, another way of using the PT hostage target is where you'll shoot the head plate, then shoot the head of the stationary target in front. And you're not looking at this as a tactical drill, but it simply gives you a target acquisition onto a hard shot. So it goes hard, 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 and you have to shoot a good shot on that swinging target. If you shoot a nipper on it, it may not go. If you're shooting light ammo, it may not go. So you have to be aware of whether the target left or not. So not only does it make you look at your sights to shoot a good shot, it makes you be aware of the effect of the rounds you fired downrange. Okay, so it makes a very good target for you to learn trigger control, target acquisition, and awareness of what's downrange. The tie-in for law enforcement is obviously you're not going to be in a static position where you end a shooting. You're not going to be able to say you sat there and just stared at your front sight, because in reality you're going to need to see what's going on downrange. This target forces you to do that. You have to shoot it, you have to see if you hit it, you have to see if it moved and went around. So it's an excellent target for teaching you situational awareness. Now at this point, that's the basic use of the target, is for discretionary shots and target awareness and know what's moving around. The next thing you start adding to it are different elements such as a reload. So now I'm going to draw. I'm going to shoot 2 shots on the silhouette in the center, then I shoot the head to one side. If it comes over, I'm going to shoot it to the other. So I may continue shooting at that head even though I've initially hit it. Then I'm going to do a reload and repeat that process. Just like that. So you basically can do whatever you want drill-wise. You understand, we're on a static range. I'm using the target and the time to work on fundamental shooting skills that you can apply to any use. Now this target is perfect because it gives you some hard shots and it gives you some easy shots. So you have to do what I like to call shifting gears. So you're changing from an easy shot to a hard shot. That's the beauty of this target.